Okay, I'm now going to explain to you how we determine an adjustment for something called allowance for uncollectible accounts. Now, uncollectible accounts are those accounts that you are probably never going to collect. So, all those people that owe you money, all those accounts receivable, not everyone is going to pay you the total amount that they owe you. Things are going to happen. Someone's going to die, someone's going to lose their job, they're going to declare bankruptcy. There are just some things that are going to come up that's going to prevent someone from paying you the total amount that they owe you. And when you do business and you accept accounts receivable, then it's just a cost of doing business. You're going to have to consider the fact that at some point someone may not pay you. So, accounts receivable has a normal balance of a debit. So, let's say our accounts receivable, we have about $12,000 in there. Allowance for uncollectible accounts is going to be a contra account to accounts receivable, which means it's going to reduce the value of accounts receivable. So, an allowance for uncollectible account is going to have a normal balance of a credit. So let's say your allowance for uncollectible accounts is $200. One thing that you're going to be asked for is a book value of accounts receivable. And in order to determine a book value, you take the amount of accounts receivable, which in this case is $12,000. And then you take the amount that you're probably never going to collect, so that's the allowance for uncollectible accounts, and that's $200, and you're going to subtract it. So the book value of of your accounts receivable would be $11,800. Now, you guys don't have to learn in this chapter how to journalize an allowance for an uncollectible account. You just have to know how to determine the adjustment for the allowance for uncollectible account. And in order to do that, most companies just use a blanket percentage of their sales on account. And the reason they use their sales on account is because that's how you get most of these accounts receivable. When you have an account receivable, it comes from selling someone merchandise on account, and then they owe you money. So it's just going to be a percentage. So let's say you had sales on account of $100,000 for the year, and you determined that your uncollectible accounts was going to be 0.5%. So you would say 0.5% times $100,000, and that would be $500. You would take that $500, and that would be your adjustment for allowance for uncollectible accounts. So your adjustment, let's do that in a different color. The adjustment would be a $500 credit. Now, because it's a cost of doing business, the corresponding debit for this is going to go into uncollectible accounts expense. So you guys just need to know how to determine the total amount of the adjustment. It's going to be percentage of sales on account, and then the adjustment will be a credit to allowance for uncollectible accounts and a debit to uncollectible accounts expense.